right, Mystery Marathon Volume 6? 7? 6 or 7?
Yes.
I think it's 6. It might be 7. Look, guys, I got her back. I got my girlfriend back on the channel.
Wow.
Wow.
Here I am. The girlfriend.
Yeah, the girlfriend. AKA my wife, who's in every video that when she watches the film with me. I watch films without her. Anyway, some dipshit commented in our thing. We need to give up on the channel because not even Kaylee, my girlfriend, wants to be on the channel anymore. And it made me laugh out loud. I was like, do you just... Trolls are so funny. They're so fucking funny to me. But the fact that he knew that you were here before is that he's watching videos of ours and it's like, it's getting embarrassing. She doesn't even want to be around you anymore with how bad the channel is or whatever. Like, there's literally... how many channels do you think exist? Millions?
Oh my God.
And millions
so
of
many.
them? How many horror channels do you think there are?
A lot. Like a ton.
I'm going to say 10,000.
Yeah.
At least. If you don't like our channel... Oh my God, the amount of other channels there are to watch that covered the same shit. Okay, the same shit, maybe not a lot. Not a lot of people are covering, the dumb shit that I'm covering.
That's usually the stuff that you're reviewing alone, too.
Popeye the Slayer Man?
I don't want to watch it.
No, that probably got a lot of reviews. You know what didn't get a lot of reviews last year and fucking ruled was The Invisible Raptor. Almost everybody skipped that movie. Because of the title, because they thought it was going to be like the Velocipaster or some shit like that, or Sharknado, and that movie's fucking hilarious. That movie was awesome. That was like one of those movies that I wish all of those like Velocipaster type movies were.
Yeah.
The Shark, Shark Exorcist and Trailer Park Shark and all that shit that where you see these titles and you're like, there's no way the movie's going to be that funny or that clever or that interesting or that entertaining, and it's just, it never is. And The Invisible Raptor is one of those movies. So what movies did we watch, though? Obviously you could see by the title, bad remakes. Now when we say bad remakes, we went into this and we watched a bunch of movies that, number one, a lot of them I hadn't seen personally. I think I shouldn't say a lot of them. 2 of the 5 I had not seen. But then 3 of them I had. I don't think you'd seen any of them.
I've only seen one of them.
Oh, maybe one.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about them. We can't reveal what they are yet. That's the mystery. But yeah, I was going off of they were received very poorly. And I was gonna pick a couple other ones like that I actually like. I don't know any that I haven't covered on the channel previously, though. So that might have been hard. But regardless, we can just jump right into this.
Yes.
But yeah, we hated all of these, right? Like, these were all terrible. These were all actually bad.
Yeah, but like...
One was better than the rest.
There definitely are ones that are better than the others. Like, in terms of a movie, but I don't know. I guess the basis is it a good remake? And it kind of depends on what you think about remakes, because some people, like, when it comes to a remake, they want it to be, like, very much the same as the original, right? And then other people like it to be kind of like a redo, like a retelling. Right?
I think the first movie we watched in this series of mystery marathons, we watched, like, 3 weeks ago.
It's been a while.
I have no notes. I'm going off memory, and I'm going to not lie to you right now, as I never, ever, ever, ever have on this channel. I don't even remember one of them right now, one of the titles off the top of my head. I remember 4 of the 5. I'm trying to remember the 5th. I know what the 5th movie we watched was, but I can't remember what one of the 5 is, and I'm trying to remember. I'm going to remember it before we get to it.
Yeah, you
will.
But
first one that we watched, I do remember, and this was... Inside was the first one.
The first one
no,
was
no. Oh, okay. Well, screw that. We'll get to that. She didn't say it, but we'll see. Okay, we're going to do Inside then. Because I revealed it. It's a mystery. It's fun. Let's do that.
Okay.
I forgot. That is the first one we watched. That's not the one I forgot, though. I remembered that's the one we watched.
Yeah, we watched Inside. I actually hated this one. This is one that I really did not like.
Oh,
this was
terrible.
Like such a horrible... There's a couple in here, this being one of them, where you take like a really brutal, really cool, like, messed up movie. Both, well, no, I don't want to give it away, but this one is a French movie.
Yeah.
And it's just so awful. It's so, like, watered down. It doesn't have
So
any
lame.
of the style,
No.
any of the tension.
No.
The performances are bad.
One of them's the chick from
Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, like, the performances, I don't like her performance in this, but I kind of feel like this is a director issue, honestly.
I agree.
I think that the actresses in this are not bad actresses. I just think that the way they've been, like, told to play the roles are lame.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we should say there's going to be spoilers for, like,
for
all of them,
of
but
course.
also for, like, the originals, too.
Yeah.
Because there will be differences between them. So, like, yeah, I mean, one of the big things in this, like, the main character, so her husband or boyfriend or whoever, they're in a car accident, and she's pregnant. The husband dies, but she still has the baby.
Yeah.
And we watched this actually last year for Christmas because it is technically set on Christmas.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really liked about the original is that the main character is, like, suicidal.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even really know if I mean, she's gonna have the baby, but she's also kind of, like, she's just so depressed from her husband passing away. And it's like, it turns into this story of, you know, somebody who doesn't want to live, fighting for their life and finding their will to live once again through this, like, horrible experience. And I really like that dynamic. I think it makes it very, like, engaging and super intense. And that is not an element in this at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's sad that her husband's dead, but she's not like miserable, depressed, like, sad.
Literally every single thing, and this is going to be a common trend here with the movies we watched. Every single thing that makes the original great and everything that makes it edgy and memorable, this movie decides to take out and change.
Yeah.
The thing that I would kind of sort of compare this to, but this one's done 1,000 times better recently, is the Speak No Evil remake. So we have the original Speak No Evil movie, which has this really dark, brutal ending that leaves you, you know, kind of like shocked and disturbed and pissed off and, you know, lots of different emotions, which is fine. We didn't care for the original much. We've talked about it plenty at length. I love dark endings. I don't care about any of that shit. It just did not work for me because I just didn't buy any of it. But the American version Americanized it. And they took this alternate reality version where they're like, you know what, how about in the third act, what if instead of not fighting back, they fought back, right? And they gave us more of the Americanized, like, we're going to fight for our lives. We're not going to lose. Our main protagonist is going to survive and whatever. Same thing here, right? Yeah. Like, you know, in the original, obviously the big thing is she, like, cuts the baby out of her, right, killing her. And in this one, they have, like, a big showdown in, like, a pool, the pool cover.
Yeah, they don't even stay inside.
It's
like, they go outside.
Yeah, they try to, like, make it bigger.
Yes.
And then there's this, you know, this, like, fight for the life of the baby and all this. I don't understand the purpose of remaking a movie like this to kind of change. I don't know. I guess the same is true of Speak No Evil. The whole point of Speak No Evil is to try to, like, you know, have a social commentary of, like, polite culture and Scandinavian culture. Mm-hmm. But with this, you know, I don't know. It just, if they did it in a way that worked, if it was entertaining and the acting was good and it was a cathartic thing and they flipped it on the end, I'd be fine with that. But the movie's just so fucking poor the whole time. Yeah. It has no style. It feels so, like, digital and soulless.
Yeah, there's, like, some really great atmosphere in the original. Like, early on, there's this really cool shot that we both loved that's super eerie, that is like, you know, the villain in the background.
She like floats past
it looks
the
so
screen.
scary. Like, it's just the way that she's moving, and like her legs are blocked, I guess, but like it has such a weird like impact on you, and there's this really creepy factor of her being like outside the house and like a photograph getting taken of her, and you just like see part of her face, and she's just like that. The actress in the original that plays the villain is genuinely so scary and just very crazy, whereas in this it's like she is crazy, but I don't know, I didn't get the same vibe from her like at all. I also really dislike, and I figured this would happen with an American remake, they totally take out like that the baby is a character.
Oh yeah.
In the original, you get to see like when she gets, not every time, but when she gets like hit around, like you get the baby's like POV in the womb, which is gnarly, and you know, like not something you really ever see in movies, with especially with pregnant women. Like, you know, like, okay, there's baby in there, but like to really have the baby being like jostled around is messed up. Like, it adds this whole nother level where you're like, oh my god, like the baby.
I mean, a POV would be
not
incomprehensible.
A POV. Not a POV.
Like, what am I looking at?
It's like a little whatever, a baby cam or something, like inside her stomach. Yeah. But I like it. I think that's really unique. Like, I've never seen that before, and it makes it, like I said, it just has this whole nother like layer and level of tension. Not there at all. Everything with like one of the big things to just the original does the setup of everything so well. Like when she's there posing as her mom, when her like coworker or whatever comes over. Yeah. In the original, it's so tense and like scary, and the reveal that she's not the mom, like to the other person, feels so shocking, and like, you know, obviously the audience knows the whole time like what's going on, but in this one it didn't have the same impact. Again, same thing. Everything just felt like it wasn't like hitting the right way. This
is such an insanely tamed down version. And what they seem to not understand is that the story is not what made the original impactful. Right? So they're taking the framework of the story and they're thinking, well, this is something that's popular. Let's Americanize it, and we're going to take the story. And it's like, while the story is fine, right? Like, I like the story. It's fine setup and all. What's memorable about Inside is the predicament, the gore, the freaking, like, balls to actually cut a baby out of a living mother as she's, like, pleading for her life. This is what is completely missing. And literally, like, if you were to go and talk to anybody who's seen the original Inside, and you'd say, tell me everything memorable from the film to you. Tell me everything that you liked, everything that impacted you. I feel like the director of this would have listened to all of that and been like, cool, that's all the stuff I'm going to take out of this film.
Yeah. I mean, the story is like a memorable part. Like the idea of a woman, you know, kind of losing her mind because she lost her child and deciding to steal somebody else's baby. Yeah. Like that, yeah, of course. Like, that's messed up. But I just like, and I don't like that they go outside.
Did they keep the element where she wrecked into her and killed her baby?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she is still the other woman in the car.
Right.
Which is good.
I just didn't know if she was pregnant, or I couldn't remember. Yep. If they do that again.
She's pregnant and she loses the baby in the car wreck. Yeah. But yeah, I hate that they like go outside, and that she's like been in like this abandoned house that somehow also still has like.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. It, like, has electricity, kind of, but it's also, like, bare bones. I guess that's really possible. Weird. I guess, like, if you're building a house, you probably do put certain elements in before it's, like, finished. Yeah. But it's bizarre. Like, she's, like, living across the street. Like, which, I mean, I guess, again, sure, maybe that does make sense. Like, she would be stalking her and stuff. But it just, the inside gimmick is also very important. Like, the fact that she, like, doesn't really get outside of that house.
But the, like... It's been a while since we watched this, but like I remember thinking when we watched it, when she was like looking at the house, there was nothing for her to really see from that house.
Oh, right.
Like where she couldn't really see the girl's
I think
life.
she had like a camera or like a something to zoom in.
Yeah. But there was
because there's pictures of her and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
It's just so tame. It takes all the teeth. No teeth.
No teeth and terror?
No teeth and terror in this one.
Yeah, I did take some notes, I think. I have them around here. I think that might be it right there. I probably should have grabbed it before. I thought... I didn't take them on like 2 or 3 of these other movies.
I was gonna say, I think you kind of stopped taking them.
I just stopped
also
caring.
the police officers in this too. Like in the original, there's some really brutal stuff that happens with some of the police officers that show up. And there's even like a random extra kid that's like, he's not a police officer, he's like being arrested.
Yeah.
That's not a part of this anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really lame film for sure. I don't think these are the notes. No, because this is The Last of Us and whatnot, so it must be a different one, which is funny because I have all these, like, all sitting right here. All of the potential note books with my notes in them. So I'm just hoping to find it right before we ended this one. I guess we could come back if I find it. But I guess that would move us into the follow-up movie to this, since we're talking about the other one, which is Martyrs.
Yes.
Another one I had never seen because I just figured it was going to be awful and had heard that it was awful. These are all my X-Files notes for the episodes. I mean, we're almost done with the 9th season now.
Yeah.
We only have like 4 episodes left. But like no one cared that we were doing it outside of a few people. In fact, we had people being like, stop making them. We don't give a fuck. It's ruining your channel. So we just stopped.
Sad.
It is sad. I can't believe none of these are the notes. This is funny. Anyway, there's our ocean horror notes. I swear, I might have just taken them on my phone, but we're recording on my phone, so we can't do it anyways. All right, whatever. Martyrs. I mean, kind of like take most of what we said in the last review.
Yeah, it pretty much is like copy paste.
Just kind of copy paste, yeah, for sure. Another movie that they tried to give more of like a, happy ending sort of to the hurrah. They took out like all of the brutal bits, the torture, which is gone.
So important to the story.
And the one really weird change here too is that the girl who was abused as a kid, she ends up killing herself in the original, and in this one, she gets stopped, and then is the one who's being tortured, right. Which I actually thought was an interesting idea that, she came back to stop these people, and bam, she's right back in the hell that she was with. So she's like the one they've been trying to break this whole time. Yeah. And they return her. And that's kind of like one of the plot points of the original is like, you cost us our martyr. Yeah. You have to become them now. And it's because of her love for her friend that she gets stuck in this predicament and is tortured relentlessly and ends up becoming that martyr.
Yeah.
But man, this one was just so fucking lame in comparison.
Yeah. They do a very teeny tiny bit of torture. So it's not like entirely gone, but like the bulk of it is all stripped away. And one of the things that's great about the original is that it feels like 2 films in one. Like there's such a distinct just things go so crazy and change so fast in the original. Yeah. And, like the second half of the film, like once you kind of start getting into it and all of the torture stuff, like it's really hard to watch and it's messed up. I mean, it's like, that's like kind of torture porn if anything, like literally in a way. And I feel like that is so important though for the story, because it literally is about like making these people experience the worst pain imaginable so that they can like see God and see into heaven. And
They just want to know what happens after death.
yeah,
They're
like
so
that's what I mean.
afraid
Like,
of death.
they want them to be able to see into the afterlife,
Yeah.
and like, and because
Report
of
back.
what happens with like so many of these martyrs of people that like experience, extreme amounts of pain and tragedy, and that they all like all of that just feels very watered down
Oh
in
my
this.
God.
Whereas in the original, it's like very like stomach churning, and you're just like, oh my God, like it's just kind of the worst possible scenario for like a human, especially somebody being like kidnapped and having it done against their will. Anyway, and I actually didn't really like the two girls' like performance in this. Like
No.
I don't feel like I did not feel like they had the chemistry that the original ones do.
Not
I
at
didn't
all.
feel the like pain and
Yeah.
everything from the girl who in the original kills herself. Like I don't know. It felt very lifeless.
Yeah. I watched something today, maybe. There was this video breaking down this new technology that was being used on might have been a Swedish film or a Norwegian film or something like that. And I know this technology exists because Netflix wants to start rolling it out. And I'm curious on how it will be received. I know everyone's against AI in art right now, big time, right? Like that's kind of the sentiment from most film fans. This is an interesting piece of technology because I do wonder how it will affect, because like it or not, a lot of Americans don't watch foreign films. They don't like to either A, read subtitles, or B, watch bad dubs that makes even the best performances look like, Godzilla movies. So I was watching these movies, this like, little breakdown video today from the making of using this new technology where it takes the actual footage of the movie that they've shot and the AI reconstructs the mouth and the face. It doesn't change, supposedly. Like the performance, it just aligns the mouth and like with the talking with the American dialogue actor that they hire. So the movie is the same exact movie, it's just now in English, and the person's mouth functions like it would if it was talking that language. It was interesting. They showed clips of both back to back, and it was pretty fucking seamless. And I'm curious on if movies like this will become a thing of the past, if you're making one so close to the timeline of the original, right? Like, they're still going to remake movies that are 50 years old or whatever. But a foreign film that's being remade into an American film, and it's like only a few years, in the future of when the original was made, would something like Martyrs appeal to more people if they use this new program to just make it look like they're speaking English? This is lame,
I think it depends.
but I'm curious.
It depends, because not all like English dubs are even the same caliber as the acting in the original performances.
Of course not.
So even if you did have like a mouth and face kind of line up with whatever language was
Right.
dubbed over it, it
Right.
still might not have the same impact, because like, I mean,
Depends
can
on
you
the
have like
actors.
really, you can have really talented like voice actors, or just actors in general doing the voice work, and then maybe it would work, but it really would depend. It really would depend. Like this kind of movie, like if you were to take the original and dub over it, like you would really need to have talented actors doing that, because there's like a lot of really emotional and dark and heavy stuff in the original that if you change that performance in any way, it just takes away from it. Because there's also things that people do, like even when you do like an English dub of something and give a really good performance, like you're not going to do it the exact same way as like the French actor does it.
Yeah.
And there's sounds and vocalizations that are made in French or in that language that I feel like convey a specific emotion that maybe, not that you can't convey it in English, but it's just like, is so different.
What if they have the same actor do it in English?
Yeah. I mean, if you had the same actor that could do it in English, like these old Giallo movies where they would like have them like dub over their own performances in English, that'd be interesting. I mean, yeah, would I like to see that instead of like a watered down shitty remake like this? Like, yeah. If I had a choice between the two, I'd rather see the original performance.
I mean, obviously, we have no problem watching films in subtitle.
I love watching films subtitled. I love watching foreign films. I think it's really important for people to do and to like get exposure to other cultures and other languages and just all of that. So personally, I don't think you should even need that. But obviously, there's a lot of people that are like either lazy or they have a hard time with the subtitles for whatever reason.
It does distract away from the film for a lot of people. And, as a big fan of Demon Slayer, I'm rewatching it now for the 4th time. I put on the English version this time for the first time because I'm watching it with my kids and they can't read fast enough. And even I struggle because sometimes the characters, talk really fast. Like, Zenitsu is like this very scared character that talks really, really fucking fast when he's freaking out. And those words can like go by so fast. You're like trying to read it, but you're also trying to pay attention to the scene. And when they're in these huge fight battle scenes and one carrot running around and cutting things up and you're trying to pay attention to that, but then 100 words are coming across the screen, it does make it difficult. Now it's animation, so the mouths don't really need to line up anyway all that much, right? It's a little bit different with animation. But with, especially with like animation, the mouths just kind of just flap. But with humans, it is a bit different. I'd be curious. I mean, it would definitely depend on the film, and it's not just for Americans, right? Like that can be applied to all sorts of different languages.
There's plenty of people that are obviously watching English language films and watching them dubbed, of course.
This reminds me of the show Northern Exposure. I know I bring this show up a lot, but there's this kind of like indigenous language that they speak in town, and one of the things that they do in the town is they have a few people who speak that language and they redub over movies for kind of like the elderly indigenous people in the area.
That's cute.
Who don't speak English and they don't read English, and there's no dubbing or subbing of those languages for any film because it's almost like a dead language.
Yeah.
And it's like, that'd be pretty cool to have that option for people who have like, pretty like rare languages.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, we're definitely not purists. Like, we've watched plenty of things dubbed for, whatever various reasons, because we can't, we need to look away from the screen or whatever, like we're watching the dog or something. So it definitely happens. But this movie, though, is not that case, though. This is just a whole new remade movie.
I know. I'm just saying, would it be better to watch Martyrs? Like you'd already answered.
Yeah,
this
I did already answer it. I'd rather watch the original and at least watch it dubbed versus watching this version of it, because version just is not. It doesn't have the same level of impact that the original does. It does entirely turn into this like, and it has this ending that I also like. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, she's being tortured.
Yeah.
And her friend escapes and, is, like, coming back for her to save her. And she goes through and she's, like, killing all these people.
Yeah.
Which it's, like... you know, in this kind of operation, like, they would have so many, like, well-trained people there, but for some reason she only encounters, like, 4 people.
Yeah.
If that, because I guess the argument maybe, but it's not, because everyone that's, like, there watching this girl, like, die, they're all the, like, rich people that are, like, funding it.
100.
And are, you know, wanting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they do the eye thing, which they kind of do in the original. I don't remember if it's, like, an effect thing or if they just show these really gnarly looking photos of, like, people, like, on this cusp of life and death where their eyes are, like, glazed and they look otherworldly and messed up and scary in the original.
Yeah.
In this, there's, like, some kind of effect that they do where there's, like, a white light in their eye, which is fine. But anyway, it just signifies that that's what's happening. And they have her on, like, a literal cross. And her friend comes and, like, has a gun and is like, I'm gonna shoot you, like, get away from her.
Yeah.
And she goes to that place and some guy walks up, like, with a priest or something. Like, they hear what she says, like, because she tells her friend. And he, like, immediately, like, kills himself. And this, I don't remember how her friend dies, but her friend dies with her. Like, they both die there.
Yeah.
They both end up dying. Right? I think she gets shot as well. I think somebody comes in and shoots her. This is, again, like, from 3 weeks ago. But,
it's so forgettable.
It's just, my point is that I feel like they were trying to, like, go back to, like, maybe what the original was with, like, having, like, the death at the end. But they also wanted to throw in this, like, idea of her being rescued.
Yeah.
But she doesn't rescue her, but instead it's like,
and they
showcase, like, a scene from their childhood where they're like, I want to go wherever you are.
They only skin her back.
They skin like a slice of her back.
Yeah, yeah. In the original, they cut off
my God.
every part of her skin except for her face.
It's so messed up.
And then they put, like, heat lamps on her
There's
exposed
so many things
flesh.
to her.
She is so
like, she's
brutalized.
So messed up.
That scene where he, like, picks her up and keeps punching her into the ground,
God.
like, that scene's fucking brutal.
Because that's also, like, it's like the limits of, like, what a human can survive, right?
It's incredible.
This doesn't feel like that at all. This
Not
feels
at all.
like, why is she seeing that? Like, I mean, yeah, it's messed up. Of course, the things that happen to her should not happen. They're just not the same level.
They also get rid of the girl that she finds in the basement. They find, like, a kid.
Yeah.
Instead, and like, the kid doesn't even look that, like, emaciated or fucked up or anything. Like, in the original, the girl they find with the, like, the chastity belt and the thing over her head, and they're, like, tearing it away, and the freaking skin's coming out, and she's in the bathtub, and as soon as she, like, frees her, she's, like, trying to cut her wrists as fast as she can because she doesn't want to live anymore. See, I haven't seen the original in a while, but every single scene of that movie is memorable to me. I could never forget a single fucking second of what happens in that film. I mean, I remember the ending vividly, where the fucking old lady gets the news and she turns to them and she says her shit and then blows her fucking head off. Like, you never forget that. Yeah. This movie, we watched it just recently, and you're like, they died, I think. I don't know.
No, they do die. I was just like, trying to remember.
I remember they do, but I don't remember how, because it's just so lame in comparison. It's like, oh, this is like, I'm purging it from my memory.
They have the same, like, scene with the family that's very shocking, obviously.
Yeah, with the shotgun.
It doesn't feel as shocking, though, still.
No, because it's not as visceral.
Yeah, it's not. And I actually don't remember in the original if she's, like, seeing things, because in this one she, like, sees, like, an entity.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
I was gonna say, I thought that was, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's the lady that she left behind when she ran away as a kid. It keeps traumatizing her and following her around. And even after she kills the family, she, like, puts the blood in the air and she's like, "There, I did it. Now leave me alone."
Yeah.
And she still won't leave her alone. And that stuff is tamed down so much.
Okay.
Her being thrown around and the shit she does to herself. when she's like fighting with herself in the bathroom, and then like the mom ends up surviving and is like walking around, and she's like trying to hide her body in the hole in the backyard and all that stuff. Like all that stuff is gone. Like every great thing about the original is pretty much vacant, absent here. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's just such a lame remake. Anybody who saw this and didn't see the original and is like, oh, I saw Martyrs. No, the fuck you did not.
I think what we were like talking about too with watching these movies is that like these should be the like original, and then the like
100%.
The others are the
100%.
remakes where they're like, let's take it to the next level.
100%.
But instead, it's the opposite.
That is exactly what I said while we were watching this. Thank you so much for reminding me of that, because that is exactly how this felt. This feels like complete opposite. Like a remake of something. So like the comparison I made while we were watching this, which I think is the perfect fucking example, is imagine if they took like the Resident Evil 4 remake or the Silent Hill 2 remake. That's the original. And then the remake was the original graphics. Like they just like regressed them. Imagine on the clunky controls of Resident Evil 2 or oh my god. When I played Resident Evil 2 again, like I went back after playing the remake just to look at some of the graphics and look at the like controls and everything. That's how this feels in reverse. It feels like they remade it, but 100 times worse. It's incredible. No one else would, you wouldn't do that anywhere else, but in film, it's so wild to me.
I really feel like the theme of like taking a very brutal and graphic foreign film and then just totally watering it down and trying to make it more palatable for like a larger audience is so lame.
Especially this story.
This one is
and
like,
inside.
And both
They're
of
both
them.
Brutal in concept.
They both like the brutality and the graphic nature is necessary for the story.
Yes.
Which is something that we have talked about before, where like some stories don't need that.
No. You don't get
Some stories don't need the graphic violence or, whatever, sexuality. But some stories, like, it is part of it, and when you take it out, like, you are missing an element that's there. So that's definitely the case with these two films. It doesn't necessarily come up in, I think, the other ones we watched as much. But definitely these two, it was just like, no.
No, terrible.
So, yeah.
Okay, so then the first film we watched, Kayleigh.
The first film we watched was the Fog remake.
This I haven't seen since theaters. I saw this shit in theaters. Opening night up in Flagstaff. I'll never forget that. I saw this with my brother. I want to say maybe... I thought Alec might have also went with us, but it was definitely me and Nathan. And my memory of it was just trash. That the movie was unbelievably, unbearably, unwatchably bad.
I was actually going to say that I think this might be the best of all the remakes that we watched.
It's like
it's not great
very,
at all.
very, very, very subpar movie
Yeah.
that just doesn't feel almost anything like the original.
Yeah.
The only thing that I actually liked about the movie was there's this shot of the ship passing them, and there's all these like kind of darkened figures standing alongside the boat. And I was like, that's an eerie shot. That's a good shot.
Yeah, it could have been in Carpenter's for sure. I mean, it's hard, right? When you deal with like a Carpenter film, it's like you're not only like going up against the like cinematography that's always, I mean, not always. There's obviously some that aren't, not that I've seen, I guess, but like...
Did Dean Cundy do The Fog? He probably did.
The direction and the cinematography is almost always like fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you also have the score as well, which is like, probably what elevates those films like the most, if anything.
Yeah.
Like, and Carpenter's just such a master of atmosphere in all his films. I mean, The Fog has that. It has such a great atmosphere. And this doesn't. This feels like 2000s digital like lame version of The Fog, and But again, I do think it probably is like the best remake of the ones we watched.
Which is sad.
Which is really sad, but you know, it stays like it has the story. It tries to make a couple little changes here and there. It just is missing all of the style, all of the atmosphere, all of the acting, everything from the original that makes it like great and classic.
It's not as bad as I remember.
Yeah.
But it's not good.
Yeah, I found this one watchable. I wasn't as angry with this one as I was with like Inside or Martyrs.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't need to be made, for sure.
No.
I don't feel like anything is done in this that is better than the original or is comparable to the original or anything. Yeah.
So we got Superman here from Smallville playing Nick Castle. And, you know, previously played by Tom Atkins. And, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, who's like the hitchhiking hookup, which he doesn't even like ask her age or her name until after he's had sex with her.
Yeah.
That is all just completely gone here. This is like his ex-girlfriend that ran out on him a while ago, and he's like been having sex with Stevie Wayne, Adrienne Barbeau's character from The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
He's got like a romantic thing with her, and that's played by Selma Blair in this. Yeah, it just trying to make this like love triangle, but it never really goes anywhere because I don't even remember if they run into each other.
They do.
They
do run into each other, and she's like, "I heard so and so was back," and he was
for like a second, right? But there's like not a big crossover,
like an
awkwardness
to it, but they're like not upset with each other because they both, I guess, kind of knew it was just like a fling.
Yeah, right.
But he does go to like help her son and stuff, and is like, you know. I think this is funny because it really does show the difference in time, whereas like. This is 70s or is this early 80s? This is 80s.
Fog?
The Fog.
1980.
Yeah. It, like, the difference in, like, having, you know, having some, like, young girl, like, hitchhiker, like, sleeping with, like, a guy like that, like, wild child.
Twice
wild child, like, spirit versus now it's like, well, we need to make her, like...
Same age.
The same age and also, like, boyfriend. So... Yeah, that it, like, makes sense why she would, like, be with him. Which is, I mean, I don't know, I guess that's fine. But I like Jamie Lee's character in the original. I actually think she's really cute in that. And, I mean, yeah, the guy's twice her age, but, like, it fits because she's, like, I'm, like, running away, and, like, you know, she's, like, this rich girl that's, like, leaving her home, and I don't know.
She's just having like, experiences.
Yeah, it just kind of fits.
She's trying all the flavors to see which one.
I like it. I like it in that one. I think it's totally fine. Yeah, and then, Adrienne Barbeau's character in this, like, I didn't like that. Selma Blair, is that who you said it was? I mean, she's fine, but... It's just not the same.
No.
Like the radio voice and everything. Like that's also something that I think is so memorable of the original.
Yeah.
Right? Is like her talking and just like especially like over like shots of the town and like this one didn't have that same feel to it. And maybe part of it is also because she's playing like more modern-ish music at times. I don't know. That shouldn't be an issue, but I like the original vibe with everything.
Yeah.
So
I definitely need to take notes for these mystery marathons. I like to just kind of casually talk about them. But yeah, this one I don't have a lot to say because I honestly already forgot about most of it. And that's just a common theme with these. This is why no one talks about them. This is why they were kind of shunned and pushed to the back of anyone's memory who saw them because they're just so fucking forgettable. Like the second this movie ended, I forgot about it. It's just it is such a forgettable film. And even if it was an original movie, I'd feel the same way about it. But it gets an even bigger strike because it has such a classic film to draw inspiration from. Yeah. And it just kind of fumbles all of the good bits. But it's like, if you're going to remake a movie,
Oh,
you've got to create something that warrants its existence, right? The Maniac remake with Elijah Wood is a perfect example.
Oh, sure,
right?
yeah.
To take it in this kind of like POV, do it from Frank's perspective, and then kind of draw out when he's disassociating and really show him like how he sees himself when he looks at himself, and he's like, almost floating above his body, like what is happening to me, and the relationships that he creates with these mannequins, and his, there's just such a richness to that, and it feels so in line with the original while also being its own thing.
Yes.
And it creates such great atmosphere. There's such a love behind it. It's still as brutal as the original as well, so it honors it in a lot of ways. These just take the 3 movies in a row, it just takes everything that's great. The style, the music, all of it. It's all just gone or watered down to the point of non-existence.
Yeah. One of the elements in this is that they make the hitchhiker like she's related. Oh, she's like reincarnated version, like the wife of the main guy. Oh, yeah. I don't remember his name. I think he has a name,
from
but
the
like
Elizabeth Dane.
Yeah. She's like from there. She had leprosy, and anyway, he like comes like and like they meet her, and then she like goes with them. She like turns into like her version.
Oh, right. She like ends up with him at the end as his wife.
Yes.
This is very reminiscent of the plot of the original Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, where the ghost and this is nothing new. This is like a trope into itself, where the ghost sees a woman that reminds him of his love, like Bram Stoker's Dracula with Winona Ryder or whatever, and she's like a reincarnated version of her, and this is the same with the family lineage. Yeah, that's right. They literally she goes with him in the end.
Yes,
like he wins.
She leaves,
and she leaves to be in love with we're in love. And takes off with the ghost.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
She leaves him again. That bitch.
Yeah, I'm fine with that trope of a ghost seeing their reincarnated lover or whatever. But it's just very weird in this, and not what you're really expecting, I guess. But
hey, I can dig that.
But it's
unexpected's good. But
it's fine. It's not good. It's not a good movie.
No,
it's not a great remake or anything. It's just the best of the ones we watched, I think. It's not the most entertaining, though.
Oh, I remember it now. Now that you said the entertaining part.
There was one that
How could I forget?
I know.
How could you forget? This is my favorite of
this
them.
One is...
Because this is by far the most entertaining.
Yes, this one is the most entertaining, but I don't know. I don't think it's a good remake.
No, it's not.
It's just it's an entertaining film when you keep it outside of itself, but the original for me is definitely superior as well. So,
well, number 1, the movie is The Wicker Man starring Nicolas Cage. Let's stop beating around the bush. Number 2 is come at me all you want. That's fine. I don't like the original. I just have never vibed with it. There's this weird atmosphere to it, and it's like half a musical, but it's stuff I don't really care for. The atmosphere, the creepiness of the atmosphere in it is fine. I don't know, I revisited it recently and I really didn't like it. I don't know, not that long ago.
Oh, really?
I didn't care for it. I was sitting there wow, I remember this movie being much different. I was very surprised at how many times they broke out into song, which I'm no hater of freaking musicals at all.
Yeah, I think the original is a lot more serious feeling to me, and it has much more atmosphere. I like the isolation. I like the creepiness of the community and the pagan and occult aspects and everything. Obviously, there's a ton of folk horror movies out there. This is one of those kind of quintessential folk horror movies, but there's a lot more that I haven't seen. Sure. Folk horror is definitely a genre, a subgenre that I would like to go into more.
Valerie and her Week of Wonders.
Yeah, that one's great, but there's a ton of them that I always see that are all from the 70s too. So maybe we can watch.
What was that one that we were?
That
was
at some point.
The one where the girl was the witch that we just did? That almost felt folky.
The Poison for the Fairies?
Yeah.
I love that one. I don't know if that's folk horror, really. I think folk horror has to have, like, some specific elements to it to be really considered it. Obviously, like, an emphasis on nature is one. Yeah. But, yeah, I would like to watch more, like, legit good folk horror films. Classic ones, because I think that that's a really cool subgenre. But, yeah, this remake is... I mean, this is, like, Nicolas Cage... I mean, we always talk about this. He's given some fantastic performances. Like, I don't think that he is a good and a great actor at times.
At times.
But then there's other times that he's just Nicolas Cage in a scenario. Like, that's what's so funny about it. Like, this feels like just Nick Cage in The Wicker Man, like, as in, like, he's just himself.
Yeah.
But he's, like, crazy.
Yeah. Everyone else is in some serious Wicker Man movie, and it's just Nicolas Cage kind of is running around inside a Wicker Man movie.
Yeah.
As
it's
Nicolas
so
Cage.
Funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fucking entertaining. Every single thing with him is entertaining to me in this movie. The amount of times he, like, dives into the water...
Oh my god, yeah, the, like, dreams that he has and, like, fake outs. Yeah, his reactions to everything are so funny. Like, the second he gets to the island after he, like, witnesses, you know, a car accident that kills this woman and child.
Yeah.
That he, like, can't find out who they are or anything that, like, haunts him and stuff. And he gets, like, the letter from his old flame being like, "Can you come? My daughter is missing." And, his reactions to everything are just, it's so funny. He's like how you would act in that situation, though, where you would just be like, what's happening? Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Probably the biggest shock by far and away for me in this movie was that the infamous scene that everyone talks about from this film, the bees, not the bees, all that shit, it's not in the film. That was crazy to me. I was like, where's this scene?
The, like, unrated version or something?
It's something like that, but the version we watched, I thought it was the deleted scenes. Or is it an unrated version? Whatever it was not in this version. This was the theatrical version.
Yeah.
I think it's just a deleted scene. Might be in an unrated thing. But regardless, yeah, there's, like, they break his body, and then they put this thing. It's actually brutal. We watched that scene after, and they're, like, breaking his legs and fucking him up, and then making him stun because he's allergic to bees.
Yeah.
And they put this freaking bee helmet thing on him and pour it in, and he's just, like, screaming and pleading for his life, and he's being very Nick Cage. But I was waiting for that scene when we were watching it, and it just never came. And I was like, "What the fuck? Where's that scene?" We had to look it up, and it wasn't there. So that was kind of shocking to me that they took it out. But because it's made fun of and panned so much for that scene, I find it odd. I find it odd that it's not in the movie when it's the most panned scene from the film.
It is odd. I don't know.
So it must be the
literally
unrated.
just shared a GIF of it.
I'm a GIF guy.
I feel like I say it different each time.
Yeah, you do.
But I shared one at work because my coworker was talking about how they, like, walked down the street and there was this, like, giant beehive with all these, like, bees just, like, swarming. Anyway, I shared the Nick Cage, like, not the bees. So, how much did you like how many times he, like, punched people?
Oh my god, dude! Just him in that bear costume running around hitting chicks was very funny.
Punching so many people, it was hilarious.
He just said anytime he didn't get the answer he wanted, he just hit somebody. It's just that's so funny. He's so funny.
It was so funny.
But, like, yeah, I mean. The problem, of course, being is that this movie is not trying to be funny.
No.
Right? It's not trying to be entertaining in the way that it is. So, yes, like, objectively, it is not achieving its goal. Right? It's setting out to be scary. It's setting out to be this and that. But when you got Nick Cage there kind of doing his shtick, and it just makes it very funny, it takes away from any tension that a scene is supposed to have. And it's just you're laughing at the scene. So it's like, while it is entertaining, it is not well crafted.
I have to imagine that, like, there's got to be two things. Like, when you're gonna, like, hire Nick Cage for a role, you have to kind of, I feel like, be willing to accept that he might be horrible in the role, but that the movie will have that, like, he's like one of those actors that gives like these like B-movie feels where they become like kind of cult classics because of his performance being so like odd or weird or whatever.
You just gotta cast him in the right shit.
Yes, or you have to cast him in this like a good role for him. Like obviously Longlegs, right? Like that's like recently a role that is like insane that he does. So unlike anything, but like you see Nick Cage in it, but you don't. Like he's also very unrecognizable.
It depends on who you talk to. A lot of people are like, he's just Nick Cage. I don't know what anybody's talking about, this and that.
In others,
don't feel it at all. But
yeah, but
he's perfect for something like Raising Arizona. Is like really where his talents come off because it's such a weird film.
It's weird. He does
Wild at Heart.
I was gonna say yes,
yeah.
Wild at Heart. Like he does really well in roles where he can be like weird. And where the movie is weird.
Yeah.
I'm very interested and like kind of excited for this new horror film that's coming out, I think next month.
Thriller. It's like next
It looks like a horror movie. It's called The Surfer.
Yeah.
The trailer that we saw is straight up a horror movie.
We're seeing it next Wednesday.
I'm excited because it's like it looks crazy. I mean, that could just be a great trailer and the movie is not like that, but it looks like a fever dream.
It's a paranoia movie.
Yeah, I'm into that. I'm really into that, and I think that he could do something like that really well. But anyway, yeah, in this one, it's like, yeah, everybody else is kind of playing a very straight film, and he's sort of like running around just acting like wild and punching people, and
Ellen Burns is the like leader, right?
The Lady Summer Isle or whatever
from
her name is.
The Exorcist.
Yes. I don't like her performance. I actually don't really like anybody's performance, like, aside from him. His, like, love interest, I found her to be really, like, lame. Not very believable to me. Because, you know, she's trying to con him into this. Like, she's a part of it all and everything. And I just felt like, you know, obviously, I don't know, it's obvious, but I just feel like it was too obvious in a way. Like, he would know.
Yeah.
And, you know, the ending is, like, right, he gets burned in the Wicker Man, and then they go into the mainland and are looking for other cops, I guess.
Yeah.
Other people to take in.
It's another man.
To sacrifice to their gods.
It's Lily Sobieski, right, is the chick that they're sending in to get girls. Yeah, she's super cute. But you're right. I mean, everyone in this movie is very forgettable, besides Cage. I mean, is he good in the movie? No. Is he entertaining? 100,000%.
Very funny.
The way he delivers certain lines in this...
It's reminiscent of, like, Vampire's Kiss or something in some ways.
I don't know if it's over the top.
No, but it's like where he's at such another level than everybody else in the scene. And, like, it is supposed to be intense, but, like, he has, like, this... I don't know. It's like his gauge is broken where he's like, okay, I'm gonna go insane. Like, I'm just gonna... You want intense, like, I'll be fucking intense.
The Cage gauge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also one of those actors that I think it's really interesting. Like, can be really great in comedic roles because of that, right? Like, he does comedy really well. But then when you put him in, like, serious stuff, he can also kind of do that really well, depending
Las Vegas.
depending again on the movie and on the director and the role and everything.
You just got to go to Vegas and you can get anything out of him.
One movie of his that I've been wanting to rewatch for, like, years now is Color Out of Space.
Okay.
And I've also been wanting to watch Mandy again because I wasn't a big fan of Mandy, but a lot of people really liked it.
Yeah.
And I liked Color Out of Space.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I feel like I need to revisit Mandy. And then there's also a movie of his that I've never watched that my sister always tries to get me to watch, but you're like, I didn't like it that much. That's about him with, like, puppets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one. This Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff. Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, Willy's Wonderland. My sister really liked it, and I
says nothing in the movie.
I'd be down to check it out, though.
We also hated that Prisoners in a Ghostland movie.
Awful.
Yeah.
That wasn't Cage that we hated. It was the whole movie.
Yeah, I really was excited for that one because I thought that was going to be... He has a whole mess of... I've seen so many Cage movies.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Pay the Ghost, and he's made a lot of, like, low budget horror things too. After, like, he filed for bankruptcy and was just kind of taking job after job after job, doing whatever film.
Yeah.
And he even did one called I think it was called The Trust with Elijah Wood. He made this whole like slew of like bad movies in a row those weren't as bad. But nowadays, you know, with The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent alongside Pedro Pascal, Longlegs, of course. Yeah, he's kind of making this he's definitely making much better movies these days, without question.
We should also. I grew up watching like the National Treasure movies.
Yeah.
Which I think would be fun to watch with the kids.
Benjamin Franklin something.
It's fun. I don't know. They were fun movies to watch. Yeah. I haven't seen them in years, so I mean, who knows? Maybe we watch them and they're awful, but they were fairly big from what I remember.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like popular ones. So anyway, but yeah, this one is just like watch it for Cage, really.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, 100%.
For this one, I mean, like
there's nothing else to watch it for.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Lastly,
is this last?
Yeah, we only did one more.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. We started another one. We did not finish it, which was Pulse.
We did start the remake of Pulse.
I'm glad we only watched maybe 10 or 15 minutes of, and I realized we have never done the original, and I've never done any of the American ones, because there's Pulse 1, 2, and 3, and I have seen all of them. That's shocking that we haven't
done the original.
I don't know why. We watched it while we were doing this channel together.
Yeah.
And we did, and I like rated it a fucking 10 out of 10 after
Easily
I saw it.
One of my favorite like Japanese horror movies.
And we reviewed freaking Chime and Cloud and other movies of his, but we did not do Cure, and we did not do Pulse, his two most famous ones.
We gotta do those then. So yeah, I'm glad we didn't watch the remake though, because I was not into it. Or
but
we didn't finish it. I know we will finish it, but I'm glad we didn't.
Well, Kristen Bell.
Yeah, this one.
Lastly, 2019's great classic remake,
Black Christmas.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Not the first remake. So I reviewed this. In a spoiler-free discussion. I'm not going to get into some big long discussion here. And oh man, do I have such a bone to pick with a couple of my friends from the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, who I just went on the channel of. And that episode should drop here pretty soon, but you have to be a patron to listen to it. I think you can be a free patron and still listen to it, I think so. But on there, they were trying to say like that there was no real difference in like the very brazen man-hating within both the Black Christmas 2019 remake and The Substance.
Oh man.
And I listened to that and I almost turned it off and never listened to them again to try to compare Black Christmas 2019 with The Substance, as far as like trying to defend like, oh, the movie's not that bad, it's not as man-hating as people say. Bro,
The Substance is not man-hating.
You know what this movie lacks? Substance.
Bro, this is Black Christmas. What are you talking about? What do you mean it's a Black Christmas remake?
So
where is the Black Christmas of Black Christmas? They literally just wanted the title Black Christmas because there's like black goo.
Right.
That's it. But this is, like we said, this is like a script for some other movie.
So I had suggested and theorized, and I said this even in my review of the movie. Blumhouse did this thing with Hulu called Into the Dark, where they were making and releasing a horror film every month, January through December, and in each month they were covering a holiday within that month, right? So in Thanksgiving for November, and a Christmas movie obviously for December, so on and so forth. And this came out in a December, and I was convinced that this was made for Into the Dark. Now, I don't think that holds a lot of weight when I would say that it was just titled Black Christmas. Now, it could still work because you can just do homages and not ever have the plan to call it Black Christmas, right? Because you do have like the classic like glass unicorn that Margot Kidder's character, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've watched it, and it's not a movie I'm super familiar with. I've probably only seen it 3 or 4 times in my life. I do love it now. I used to find it boring, but in most recent watches, like the last 1 or 2 times I've seen it, I've probably seen maybe 5 or 6 times.
It's great.
But I loved it
Yeah.
the last time, and I actually do quite like the 2006 remake. But regardless, there are nods to the original for sure. But as I said, that could just be homages because this is set on Christmas and it's sorority girls.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like it's impossible to believe. It's almost as if they have those nods to this in there, and then Blumhouse was like, you know what? Instead of releasing this on Hulu, why don't we just call it Black Christmas since we have the rights and all, and just try to make a buck off of it, which I thought was a horrible idea. Would this movie be as poorly received if it wasn't titled Black Christmas and supposed to be an original, like a remake of the original classic film? I don't think it would be as hated. I think it would be like not even watched by almost anybody, and the people who watched it would be like, yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was a man-hating movie or whatever. But it would be forgotten. But because they labeled it Black Christmas, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, so many more people watched it because
and Blumhouse has a bad name because of it, right? Like Blumhouse makes some bonehead decisions.
Yeah, Blumhouse is one of those. I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, there's some great Blumhouse movies and things that come out of that, you know. But there's also so many awful ones. So it really is just kind of like a hit or miss thing. I think most people, like, when you're looking for like a good horror movie, you're looking at A24, you're looking at Neon, you're looking at these other, you know, production companies and whatnot. So it's like, I don't know. But Blumhouse is like, yeah, you kind of roll the dice most of the time. This movie, like, it's just so, it's so try hard in the messaging, really. You know, it's not messaging that I'm particularly, like, against.
Yeah.
Like, there is rape culture in fraternities and sororities on college campuses that are really shitty and, like, still exist today.
I agree.
That I think is, like, messed up and should be called out, of course.
Yeah.
But it is just, like, I don't know, it's really lame the way that they handle it. I was actually just thinking about, there was an indie movie that we watched. I liked this movie more, but it was kind of ish a similar concept with, but I can't remember the name, but it dealt with trans phobia and trans people instead, where there was like...
Are we talking about the one with the gay conversion camp? With It's a slasher?
It's
yeah,
like
him, her, or they, them. They, them. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about this indie film that we watched.
Oh, I know what you're
talking
about.
That was about a filmmaker.
Yeah, I know
and
what
it
you're
was
talking
kind of
about.
meta, and it was very
it's
punk rock.
called T-blockers.
Yeah, T-blockers.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't like head over heels with it or anything, but it's like a similar-ish concept where like this parasite is kind of like spreading transphobia and homophobia.
You're right. Yeah, it is similar.
Much better,
I
actually.
think I made him mention that in our review.
I like that better because it is more punk rock and it feels a little bit more like gritty and like indie, I guess. Like maybe that's why I like it more, because it's a similar idea with this where it's like the men are being infected and like that theme of like, okay, like sexism and these like, you know, these beliefs can infect people based on like who they're hanging out with and like how ideas spread between people and stuff, right? Like that's not a bad concept necessarily.
Yeah.
But I just think the execution in this is so poor. All the kills are super lame. I don't think we even
it's PG-13.
any. Yeah. So it's like, but and then there's, you know, I don't know. It's very preachy at times too. One of the characters, like the friend of the main girl, is like very preachy. And I mean, I don't know, again, but it's also like they're college kids, so it's like that's also something I would expect would be for like a college age person to be like trying to be like, you know, whatever, be like really harsh and brash, and it's not even because she's a woman. It has nothing to do with that, of course. It's just it's weird. And I also don't like the main character.
It was good to watch it with you because I watched it in theaters with Tony.
Yeah.
And we were looking at each other and we were laughing throughout the film, but we were like two guys.
Yeah.
And I think it was only like me and him and then maybe like another guy in the theater. So it was just like a bunch of men sitting there three men sitting there and watching this movie. Just, I don't know, man. This second viewing, I guess I could maybe-ish defend a single element of the movie, because I originally had said, and I mostly stick to this, that the whole premise of the film is that if you strip away the domestication of men and this like ooze gets into them, it kind of like it invokes and this like kind of default setting in men, and men's default setting is like women abusers and rapists, and that's like what we are naturally, like that's our nature. Now, because there is this like love interest character for our lead and he's able to fight it to some degree, I guess maybe if you are a good guy this won't affect you as much. But also the defense I guess I could come up with is that this is a lie that they're telling them, and it only does affect men, but this ooze just embodies the original guy's spirit.
100%.
And he's an asshole.
This isn't, I don't think what you said originally, I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think this movie is saying that all men are evil or that that's their nature or anything. I don't think it's that. I 100% think that it is about the influences.
Yeah.
And how, like, hatred and women hating,
so I guess, is like
can
the
spread.
Spirit of Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Getting into people.
Especially because they're young college boys. Like, this is like the prime time to be kind of indoctrinating, people into certain belief systems. And
100%.
especially in like fraternity culture where like, obviously a lot of people go to college to sexually experiment and do all these things. And there is a really negative like aspect of that culture of like, having as much sex as possible with as many women, but kind of looking at them as objects and not as people and all of that. So I think it has more to do talking about like the institution itself.
Yeah.
And the culture around the institution and how that can influence people to be horrible versions of themselves. Now, are there people in that group, like, for example, her ex-boyfriend, like, could you say he was already infected with that stuff when he, like, raped her or whatever? I don't actually know if they were dating, but they're like seeing each other. Sure, like you could definitely maybe say that, but I would think like there's just, like bad apples that like it just, they fall into it easier, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I think that the love interest in this, I actually really like him, and he is like super ashamed and is trying to fight it, and then is like, I don't believe that, like I'm sorry, like they put something in me. Like he's like immediately trying to like make up for it because it's like he's out of control. So I think, I don't know. I didn't see it as that. I just didn't like the execution of everything. And like I said, I did not like the lead. I felt like she was not, like, I know that she's supposed to make this journey from like victim to empowered.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that. I just did not feel like she got to that point of like strength and empowerment. Like I did not believe that she was there. I just didn't.
Sucks because I love Imogen Poots. I think she's awesome. I think
she's a cutie, and
she's very cute, but she's also like in some really fucking rad movies from, one that I don't know, did you ever see The Green Room?
No.
With Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart and the skinheads and the punk rockers playing at the club.
No, I haven't
seen it.
Movie
fucking rules. I gotta show you too. But she's also in Vivarium.
Oh, right. Yes.
Which I love, and it's
great.
one of those movies that's very split. But
really
I do really like Imogen, and she was probably the big reason I went to see this. The fact I was going to fucking see it, let's be honest. I had the channel, and I see everything when it comes to theaters, especially when you have A-list. But I don't know. There's these scenes in here that were so fucking annoying, and really did, as you said, they just feel so preachy.
Yeah.
And I could probably sit here and talk about so many of these scenes for so long, but I found the writing to be so fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Very. And it very much feels like, if I don't know, it's like these movies. I want to put the right words together because you always fear you're going to sound misogynistic or something when you talk. I do have a bit of a like reservation saying these things without really putting a lot of thought into them first, because I don't want to sound a certain way. I really do mean this with the best of intentions. But just the way that the friends talk to the guys in this, I really hate this idea of like we had talked about in another video where I'm just like, oh, stop mansplaining things to me or something. And it's like, that character is not mansplaining anything. The character's explaining something to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. There's a difference.
I think they're using like those kinds of terms and these concepts in the wrong way. And it kind of takes away from like the real life like moments where those are actually issues. If that makes sense.
Mansplaining to me is when...
Oh, here we go.
I know, I have to
we
mansplain.
We already did this. Rant.
Mansplaining to me is looking down on a girl because of the topic that you're bringing up is predominantly male, or at least it seems as so. It doesn't even have to be that. I know. I'm saying, for me, typically what that means is like, we're talking about cars, or we're talking about something, and I'm like, or sports is the big one, right, where it's like, here, let me mansplain this thing to you that you couldn't possibly comprehend because you're a woman. I
think where you're missing, though, it's not just topics that are like, oh, you think a guy would know this. It's that it can happen with anything, and it's just the idea that you're assuming that the woman that you're talking to doesn't know what you're talking about, so you're like explaining it to them without kind of establishing a baseline of their knowledge. And in doing it in a kind of, maybe a condescending way, or just kind of like not really realizing, like if she's saying like, oh yeah, like I know, or like whatever, and just kind of barreling through it. It doesn't have to be like a quote unquote male topic or whatever.
So so essentially mansplaining in theory is that men think that women are just
stupid,
dumb, period, on literally every topic. Yes. So I guess
there's a lot of guys that do think that.
I'm not saying. I'm guessing that you're right. I'm sure that's correct. I think the reason I have that personal disconnect is because as somebody who's been a hairdresser for 20 years and has worked with women primarily, right? Most of my clients are women. And most of the women that I work, most of the people I work with are women. I do a decent amount of guys' hair, and I've worked with around like guys. But in my experience, women, on average, are more educated than men are, especially since they read more. That helps them tremendously, and they have a better understanding of things typically when I talk to women versus men. Men, I have to kind of like guide them a bit to get them to the conclusion, but with women they're much more intuitive with things. That's my own personal experience with them. So default for me is women are smarter. So I don't even ever think that the audience that I'm holding with a woman is like inferior to me. I actually have that more of a default setting with men more so than women in my experience. So I guess maybe that's why that's my perception of what mansplaining is like, you couldn't like comics. You're a woman.
I'm gonna womansplain
mansplaining
makeup to some guy.
Just
kidding.
Yeah, go for it. I wouldn't know shit about that.
There's so many guys that know so much about makeup.
Of course.
And stuff. Like, what? No. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like the terms and stuff used in here, they kind of like water down, I guess, maybe like the concepts a bit, partly because it's PG-13 in some ways. Like I think the sexual assault aspect, but then again, that's also a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, and not every film like really wants to go into any kind of like explicit or really uncomfortable territory when it comes to that. Like kind of just addressing rape in general can be very upsetting for a lot of people. So I think, okay, but like as a remake, this is horrible. Like I just, as you said, there's like a few homages to things. It's set on Christmas. It deals with the sorority and stuff, but like it's just, it is nothing at all for me compared to the original. So yeah, I think this one is, I was definitely really curious after like hearing you talk about it for a while, just about like how.
Do you think the movie's man-hating?
No, I told you I didn't.
Okay.
I don't think it's man-hating.
Okay.
I just think that it's like poorly executed. I don't think it like gets the point across very well. And like I said, I don't think that the message is supposed to be that all men suck and are evil by nature. I didn't feel that way. And that was like knowing that you felt that way. I was like kind of going into like looking for that type of stuff, but I already said what I think that the what's happening with the black goo.
This is what the guys say though. When they're talking about like giving back to their true nature.
Oh yeah, they say that, but that's like something that's just like a talking point of like a lot of like kind of like far right, like this like masculine identity kind of manosphere type stuff. It always goes back to like the nature of man is to be in charge of woman, but I don't think that that's like actually what the nature of man is. I think that there's a lot of guys that want that to be the case and are like really quick to agree with that, but I think that humans are so much more complicated than just like two gender roles. Even with, hundreds of years, thousands of years of, like, people doing similar-ish things in certain, like, genders. That doesn't really make sense what I'm trying to say, but I don't think that they're saying, I don't think that the movie is saying that, yes, we agree, this is what all men are actually like in their nature. I think that that's what their brainwashing with the black goo is telling them.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's what really is happening.
Whatever, woman. Let me tell
Listen
you
up,
what's
man.
really going on.
Listen up, penis.
Penis. Okay, vagina. The reason I laughed earlier when you were talking about sexual assault and rape, because I need to clarify, since it's
You're
probably
like, ha,
people are gonna be like zooming in. Look at him laughing.
So funny.
You were talking about the sensitivity of people talking about those topics, and you said sexual assault and rape, and I was like laughing because it's like. The sensitivity of that topic now has gotten to the most ridiculous place where literally neither of those phrases is acceptable, and now they want you to say SA.
Yeah, it's tough because we've talked about this.
Never ever.
It's really hard. I mean, I think people are within their right to not want to hear about certain topics because they're upsetting to them, but it does take away from the reality of those experiences when you kind of try to like
sugarcoating stuff doesn't make
it's not really
any sense to
sugarcoating.
me.
It's
what do you
just
mean?
kind of like
how does it not?
I guess the reason I don't think it's sugarcoating is it's like because if you're just using like SA means sexual assault.
Correct.
Like you still know what that means.
But they don't want to hear the word sexual assault,
right.
So it's a sugarcoating.
But it's not because like you're.
Let me mansplain this to you.
Why I think it's not though is because it's just an abbreviation of that same term. I don't really understand why it changes how you interpret it because you still understand like that's what it means. It would be like using a nickname for something that you're like I still know. Like, I'm calling it this, but I know that it's that.
So why don't they want it to be called sexual assault?
The reason is because they don't want to get demonetized on online platforms because there are algorithms that try to eliminate that type of, like, verbiage, like when you talk about suicide or rape or whatever. Like, you don't get as much exposure to a larger audience.
But that's not true because we got the comments from that girl that's like, You don't understand. The fact you don't understand why the word suicide is triggering to people like us really makes... Like, I can find the comment.
There's definitely people that like don't want to hear
don't
it.
Use that. Use unalive. That's sugarcoating.
Okay, there are definitely people that want you to use different words, but I think like the main reason for most people online is because it's this like workaround. Which does suck because then it means that like, okay, if you're talking about a topic like suicide... And
how dare you?
No, but like let's say you're talking about some topic, right?
Yeah.
And you're not using that word. Somebody who doesn't want to hear about that topic now, it's going to show up on their feed because you're using unalive, but you're still talking about that, so they're still exposed to that concept. They're still exposed to whatever sensitive thing that they don't want to see. Like, it's just kind of like it forces people to see content that they don't want to interact with, whereas if you use the words and, like, label things properly, then people have a little bit more ability to, like, avoid things, like, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't really understand, like, if you use the word unalive, I mean, you know what that means, and if anything, that kind of sounds worse to me. I don't know. I know why people are upset by those concepts, of course. I think if you've experienced anything relating to them, I think it can be really, just maybe not something you want to think about, which I understand. Like, there's plenty of things I'm like, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to see anything like that. Like, how many animal harm and death, like, I would never want to see that. And if somebody was, like, using a workaround by being like,
either talk about
animal I don't know, whatever, and like it comes up on my page where I see like a mutilated animal body, it would make me upset. I would be like, why? I don't want to see that.
Nobody wants to see an animal dead body. That's not the same as talking about something.
I know,
right?
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying, but like, I don't know. It's just, though, like, kind of word policing and that kind of stuff is so stupid to me, because you're not talking about the problem in a way that's constructive, where it's like, let's focus on why people are killing themselves or committing suicide.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. What we call it does not fucking matter.
The reality is that...
because they're killing themselves no matter what you call it.
Yeah. The reality is that language will change over time. So, like, the words that you use to describe things, like, culturally, will, become rooted, and that will just be the new way that people refer to stuff. Like, that will happen, even if you don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, even if tons of people don't do it. Like, it's just
generational
going
will
to change.
eventually change.
And that's fine.
Course.
I think it's more about, like, okay, these are really heavy topics, but they need to be addressed, in some way. I think that this movie, it doesn't go into these topics that, like, deeply, because it is, like, PG-13, and it's, I think, trying to kind of appeal to more of that teen audience.
Yeah. 100%. This movie's made for, like, fucking 14-year-old girls or some shit.
Yeah.
I think all 5 of these movies need to unalive themselves.
Except for Nicolas Cage's Wicker Man. That one can stay.
His performance can stay. The whole rest of the movie can commit suicide. I would literally, like, I would have the channel commit suicide before I started using the word unalive. It's never gonna happen.
You gotta start using the word unalive.
Never gonna happen. Never ever. No fucking way. You cannot take the power away from terrible things like that. That is so like unconstructive. Constructive? What would be the right word there?
Unconstructive?
Yeah. I don't see it helping anything. It just plays into people who are like, this hurts my feelings. I don't want to hear about that.
The internet is a wild place. There are a lot of dark and evil things online.
Yeah.
So really, I think we should all just not be online.
Agreed.
Except to watch
Don't
movies
watch this video.
and TV shows.
Why are you watching this?
Don't watch us.
Yeah, get off the phone.
Get off your phone. Get off your computer. Go to bed. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Or take a walk at least.
Yeah, do something that makes you not want.
What's that thing that they always say? Like, go touch grass? I actually hate that phrase. I think that's so condescending.
Touch grass is terrible, dude.
But
Every time I do, I get freaking, like, rashes on my feet. Like when I walk around in grass.
Oh, I like grass.
No, I get these when I get the...
I don't walk around in grass anymore barefoot.
You ever laid in grass? And you get the itching all over your body?
There's a good kind of grass to lay in. There's, like, really soft grass that you can lay in.
Ones that dogs piss on?
You don't lay in grass in Arizona.
No, I don't.
But there's certain places that you can lay in really soft grass, and it feels really nice.
We are 15 minutes past Kaylee's bedtime.
Yeah.
We gotta wrap this shit up. We had a lot of conversation here.
Yeah.
About a lot of different things, as usual. The rants went all over the place. If you were offended by anything we said, good. Fuck off.
You're so welcoming.
We don't need any pussies on this channel. No, I'm not kidding, but I find myself funny. I don't know. I don't do well with it. I just don't. I don't know. I'm like, this is just my generation. I'm not meant for the younger generations, the Gen Zers or the Gen Alphas. They just don't make any sense to me. I think their heart's in the right place. So I do want to say that. I do think what they're saying comes from a good intentioned place. But much like my generation when we were in our 20s, we just say dumb shit.
Yeah.
And whatever really like lands sticks around, and most of the other shit just falls away. It's kind of like, that's not going to work. That's not what we're going to do here.
Yeah. We'll see what lingo stays in the cultural psyche.
Yeah, I'll be the old man at the party that's like, he said the S word.
Probably.
How could he?
You'll be that guy.
Yeah. I'm already that guy. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm already that guy. I still use horrible phrases. I just don't use them on the channel because I don't need people giving me shit.
That's true.
Yeah, these old words from the 90s that I still use them all the fucking time. But I just don't use them on the channel.
You don't use them in public. You use them in, like, humorous ways.
Because I know how sensitive everyone is now. They're such babies.
Oh, you sound...
Oh,
like
I'm hurt.
Thing.
I'm hurt.
Oh, the world isn't the same way that it was when you were a kid. You poor thing. It changed.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm sorry. It's going to keep changing.
We're all wimps. I'm a wimp. I'm offended.
Not a wimp.
You're a wimp.
I'm not a wimp.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Let me show you a hurt animal.
That's different.
All right, guys. We're done. We got to go. Bye.
Bye.